Hello and welcome to Devcast Ops. You are joined tonight by myself, Barnaby, and James, and maybe Wale if he can fix his internet, but we'll see about that in a bit. We're kind of looping back to something we did a couple of weeks ago where we're going to try and take the Packer images builds that we have and plug that into our automation framework that we have in GitHub. So make things just a little bit more streamlined from start to finish.
Yeah, it's the plan. I'm sure there's other things we need to do to actually make it fully streamlined, but the more streamlined we can make it, the better.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since we've done something technical, and it's very hot in the UK, so we aren't necessarily on our smartest thinking process at the moment. So we've started off what we remember we need to do. There may be other steps that we've forgotten that we need to do, but
Yeah,
that's half the fun. You're along for the ride, right?
Okay. So, if you share my screen,
Sending you live.
cool. So this is our last pipeline one because we started off trying to get it to work just with GitHub Actions, got fed up with GitHub Actions, and then just did it locally. So this is the error we need to deal with. Authentication requires both client ID and client secret. Having some look into it, we have set up some secrets. Well, I've set up some secrets off stream because secrets, which hopefully still work because I remember regenerating some secrets, but we have two secrets. I thought this would just load them in as environment variables because some of the platforms do. Not this one. So what we need to do as a first step is in the Packer build step, which is this one, we need to create some environment variables.
Do you know if you can dynamically generate HTTP credentials yet?
What do you mean by dynamic generate?
I use Vault to generate your HTTP creds, so you can have short-lived creds.
I don't think so. I would be shocked if that doesn't happen very soon. But I don't think I've seen any talk about it. Okay, generate the internet. I just do env here, and then I do the two environment variables as key values. So if I just go sneakily grab off my other monitor, I need the client needs to equal secrets dot that one.
Is that normal YAML? The dollars?
This is the way that its templating works.
I think I've been Ginger 2 templating in YAML, and it's kind of so many things that are so close together, but not quite the same.
Everything uses slightly different templating. This is maybe Go template.
Were you there for the weird interaction with the templating where it was being templated twice and you wanted to render the letter N to a template? And yeah, because it was being rendered into a YAML template, which was then rendering a template from that YAML. We had a bit where essentially it rendered N the first time and then stripped off the quotes around it. And then because YAML sees N as an abbreviation of no, it then rendered the N to the next template as false.
Yeah, the first one, it removed quotes around strings. And the second one saw the string as N. It was weird. We fixed it in the end.
I think we put in a proper fix. The initial fix was just do double quotes, then single quotes. Strip off one layer of quotation each time in the render.
Oh, is that an actual proper fix? I didn't realize there was a proper fix for it.
We modified the Go templating that we were using to render with, if it was type string, just render with quotations around it.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Git status, git add, git commit. Oops. Add packer in vars.
I need to set up my one pass.
It's so that the ability to do that is so nice.
Yeah, because I've recently built the PC to mainly play games on for now, but I want it to be able to. I want to be in a situation ideally where I can just push a button and spin up any environment and get access to anything and not have to care about having anything on a computer. Just wipe them and go. But the first stage of that is getting a unified password manager that's not tied down to a platform. Because previously, as I was purely an Apple ecosystem, just used Keychain, which is actually getting a little bit better recently because it's integrating into Chrome and stuff like that, which is cool. Whereas beforehand, it was just Safari.
I don't know if I can see it. So I'm on the latest version of. There's like a secret app now. Latest version of my phone. There's like a secret app or something.
Yeah, it's I think it's just called
Passwords.
Yeah.
And you get a very similar interface to like 1Pass or something.
Oh, I think I've been into it since it's been updated.
I use 1Password, so it's less useful to me what it's doing. But
it had some setup guides on how to swap across, and I thought it was very good that it had the step which was turn off your backup software while you export all your passwords to a file to import into 1Pass.
Yeah, I had it because I used to use LastPass, and they had some issues, so I moved over to 1Pass, and it's quite bad. It's quite weird. The like, hey, download all of your passwords into a single CSV and then re-upload them. But see where you can do it.
I guess you could potentially have something that's API based and just doesn't write to file, just stores it all in memory, so it wouldn't get caught by backup software. You could still have it stripped as you were running. That looks like a fun error.
So this is trying to download. I mean, this is progress because it actually started while running, so it at least thinks the environment variables exist. I think.
It failed to download something.
So our repos are private currently, I think.
I thought we opened them up, the ones we needed for this, or did we not get all of them?
Oh yeah, you're right. They're all public. Okay, I think.
Is it trying to do it using SSH? I wonder if it just doesn't have a valid SSH pair.
Permission denied. Public key. Oh, Nomad client requirements. These are SSH. We don't have to, these don't have to be SSH anymore. They could just be HTTP.
Yeah.
So it is console. Maybe. I mean, hopefully, this can just be.
That would sound like a reasonable one. It's just changing SSH to HTTPS at the front. The rest of the URL stays the same.
Yeah. I'm always a little bit unsure how it works.
I had a client site where for some reason their GitHub just didn't like my SSH keys from my command line when it went to Git. So I had to just swap whenever I was working with something. I had to swap it back to HTTPS and then use an authorization token to clone stuff down. which a little bit annoying, but now I know how the URLs are structured because they're having to set them back to then push.
Come on, Connor. There we go. At least this bit doesn't take too long to like start.
Cycling through.
It's quite nice that it knows about Galaxy files, because I really thought we were going to have to first in the pipeline step is do it all ourselves, is get all the registry files down, get all the Galaxy packages collections down, and then have to link them somehow. Whereas actually this is quite nice. Oh no, my level up power.
God, I'm really suffering from attrition today.
My the issue is I've got one like long USB-C cable, which is now plugged into the camera over the light. Okay, so this has downloaded things, so that was correct. It just needed to be HTTP.
Nice.
It's now running Packer.
Did we set up the channels, didn't we? But I don't know if we when we set the script up to consume them. It's all flooding
now
back.
Like crazy dark. I think it's because I go here, or like when I lean forward, it's just like
the size of the room, the back is the focus.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think we got the channels and stuff set up correctly. I think we've set live, which we have to manually change.
Which is kind of what you want. We've all had a very good example of how consuming the latest updates can cause issues lately.
Oh, that whole thing.
That's pretty wild.
What's crazy is it's meant to have been a nothing change, like to the point where it didn't need to go through the rigging testing because it's meant to be a type of change that changed like a font or something like that, and it just happened to like break everything.
That isn't the whole point of having like test pipelines and stuff like that. You just run everything through it before it goes into live.
Yeah, but the point where you're having to run things on like a lot of Windows servers, like I don't think they can never have a like within a couple hours testing platform. Well, I just think what's really funny is their one of their solutions is local developer testing. Like they should really already have that. Okay, that was really quick. We have a image made. Am I logging into Packer? Portal. That's not the right thing to log in with. Nope. Oh God. Oh God. No, I can one.
He's getting into all the environments.
I need to. What I really need to do is just let my GitHub authenticate with
the
HTTP.
Your DCO email or a DCO creds. Get in.
Also, I log in with like an admin account, so I really shouldn't be logging in with this account. Like this should be the like owner account, and then I should make my own. But someday.
Need to print out the admin creds, lock them up in a safe somewhere.
Or just use a password manager.
I do quite like having like your fallback credentials as the
Physical
idea of having
things.
physical storage somewhere that's in a different building.
Yeah. Incomplete. Latest. That's now.
Yeah.
And then live is on V1. Was this assigned by something else?
I think we just manually did it in through the UI.
I feel like that's the correct way of doing it.
I guess
Well,
if we were to do it, if we had a testing pipeline for these images, we'd set that up, and on a successful test, it would then
yeah, something would catch this.
yeah.
Something would catch the latest changing.
Oh, we could
And
probably
then,
do it with Terraform. You
yeah,
could set up a Terraform, and then its pipeline that built it did some Terraform tests, and if it was successful, do it with a post condition to change the channel tag.
I don't even know how to change the
Those
live
three.
channel.
Manage.
Manage, edit assigned version, V2, update channel. And then I can go.
If you go into a Nomad, it would just spin up, right?
So this is the question: is actually does this just work? Test, test, test.
Yes, we won't really know because we didn't change anything about the image, the Ansible code.
I mean, I can look. I can look at cast aside to come hello.
Just gonna mess with the
Yeet yourself
lights.
onto my desk. She just like, yeah. I don't know if you saw a cat flying into shot.
I saw a fluffy tail.
Yeah. Right. Definition. Tail in my face. You drinking my water? It's my water. She loves sticking her head into pint glasses.
And all her fur just squishes to the side.
Yep.
Has she ever like gone into a Pringles tube and got stuck? Kind of been running around with a tube or anything silly like that.
No, we don't really beat Pringles tubes. Oh, she's got access to the arrow keys.
She's taken over. She wants her own stream.
Let's go to see if I don't.
I wonder if it'd be quicker to look in GCP.
Maybe this does output all the information every like minute or so.
April. God, I'm trying to remember where I find what it is on Google. Got Packer image. So the 6939 are the last numbers of the Packer image.
6939. Yep.
Yeah, so it's picked up. Nice.
Cool. We've got our test clients connected. Which doesn't have Docker installed, but that's fine. Yeah, so that's.
Shall we look at building Docker into the image?
Yeah.
As we have been surprisingly efficient.
So how do we want to do this? Because obviously it's going to be a Ansible role.
Yeah, set
Do
up
we want to build?
Do we want to build another repo for installing Ansible?
Do you mean Docker?
Yeah. Would it be worth setting up one which would be like nomad executors? Are they called? Or
I mean, we could the same way these have these ones are like role. Oh no,
the collections.
console. So yeah, it's like console roles and stuff. Is it worth us creating our own, like a utility one?
Which is just covered for like installs onto stuff. Yeah, probably.
And we can have like console. He keeps trying to like fire her hand into the keyboard. I can probably like, oh no, dot.
She's real ready to go.
She just really wants to touch all the keyboard keys. Oh, not enough. Yeah, I think having just like extra, and even the TLS could probably go there. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I think just having like a general utils one which has some like common stuff that's not necessarily related to any particular app deployment might be useful.
Yeah, because Docker's going to be tiny. Yeah. Even like lots of these, actually, maybe it is worth just having one repo, but then I suppose they're putting down a whole repo for Docker is quite a faff.
I guess it's a use case of what we'd want that repo to be in. So what else would live in there? So putting the TLS in makes sense. I guess there might, if we ever get to the point where we have some monitoring tools or some cybersecurity stuff, like CrowdStrike or some other platform that runs an agent, it might be useful to have there, which are just sort of generic standalone pieces.
Yeah.
So what would be DCO standalone Ansible?
I was just thinking like utilities or something like utils.
Yeah, utils, that works.
Oh, she's sitting even less comfortably on my arm. Careful with those claws, missy. Can feel them.
I feel like
Slowly digging her claws into my arm.
Oh, when I cat sit for some of the cats upstairs, they're similar thing. They'll come and sit on your lap and they'll be fine. You'll stroke them like, oh, this is nice, and I just get like kind of slowly massage their claws into your lap while they're doing it.
My left hand, which bear in mind I'm doing typing now, has most of her weight on it. Utils Ansible.
Might be something to do at some point though, set up some observability and monitoring stuff.
Yeah, getting like Grafana.
Yeah.
Or even just like the basic GCP one.
Go
don't put in my water.
Go back to our old GitHub board and put in a thing to do.
GitHub board we've not looked at for quite a while. Okay. DCO, utils, Ansible. Which one of these do you think is a good one to copy?
Console's probably the best structured, I would say.
Console's probably the latest one we've done as well.
Yeah.
Utils. Galaxy, DCO, utils. Someday I'll make sure this stuff is full up correctly. Other day doesn't need to be today. Oh, Cat wants it off. Cool. Okay. Docs, no docs, metadata, all commented out. Plugins, cool, roles.
I forgot about our silly repo that we had, which was the problem repo.
Yep. Gotta have a repo for just issues.
Maybe one day we'll show off I say show off in inverted quotes our sort of little our workflow.
But when we have a workflow, yes, I agree. We should show it off. This camera's not like. I need to sit more like here to get better light. Okay, Docker. Let's copy this in case anyone else needs that comment. And files. I don't think we need handlers, but it's there just in case. Metadata. Cool tasks. Templates, putting templates, tests. Someday we will write tests.
They always kind of like go in waves about test-driven development and whether or not it's useful. Because I think half the time you don't know what your requirements are, so building the tests is very difficult.
If you build your requirement, if you're a good developer and you build your requirements before you start, I think test-driven development is really important. I don't even know what the output looks like when I start, so doing any level of testing is quite difficult at that level. How do we install Docker? Obviously, we currently do it with Nomad. Like this is currently how we do it. Do we want to copy this, or do we want to see if there's a better way of doing it within Ansible?
I don't know. I'm just having a quick look through. This one's looking at doing it for Python. So you add the Docker GPG key, and then you add it to apt and install it that way.
Or we go mad and go, who needs Docker, and use Podman.
If you Docker build an image, does it run in Podman?
Yep. Literally, the only difference we'll have to make is anytime we say Docker, we have to say Podman.
I'm happy to mess around with Podman. It's another thing to learn.
Should we install Podman instead then?
Sure. Do you know what the difference between Docker and Podman is?
To a base level, you can just all Docker commands you can replace with Podman, and it'll be happy. To a more complicated level, Podman's based on like OCI, like it's more close to how Kubernetes runs.
Yeah, is it? Did Google build it to be a new base for Kubernetes?
OCI, yes. Podman is built. Podman is owned by Red Hat, who's owned by IBM. So
OpenShift.
Yeah. But I think, sorry, Tim. It's really close to him. I think the Podman itself, like OCI, was built for Kubernetes.
Yeah.
Ubuntu installation. But unlike most things, we actually don't do this because Podman is just in apt.
Well, let's do it and then see if we can spin up an image and
I feel like
running.
This should just be within like Nomad.
Okay.
It's just like because otherwise I'll have one block which is install package.
You'd have to have the update package as well so that it can stand alone.
Yeah. I'm gonna let's just within Nomad, empty Nomad, DCO Nomad,
client
tasks. Yeah, go and do one task. Let's add a package. It's what base we do a package.
Yeah.
Oops.
Is there anything?
Yeah, this is. Oh, I've lost it. This is the other reason why I quite like Podman is it's. I mean, it's slightly more complicated. I would be shocked if this just works. But cool.
Yeah, you were looking at a CentOS install guide, so.
Oh, sorry, it had Debian
Yeah.
and Fedora and yeah. They even have Snap, I think. Oh, they have APK. Well, on Alpine.
The one of the crazy projects that sort of occasionally I guess, oh, that'd be interesting to do is like build an OS. And then I think that's an insane thing to do and quickly move on.
There's did I bookmark it? There is a book that I found. Oh, sorry, an online like free tutorial. Here we go. This one, which is all about making Linux from scratch. Like it's all about building a bootable Linux like drive, so you can just plug it into your computer and run Linux. Do you remember one point I was running Linux for the streams and stuff? That's why I was doing it, because I went down the route of the Nomad OS thing of like I didn't even have a clue of how to start it, let alone kind of do anything fancy with it.
The sort of the bit that pops into my head was going layer lower and sort of just not even doing Linux, just from scratch.
Oh, build your own kernel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck. I'll start slightly higher.
I've built a compiler before. I think that's the kind of lowest I've gone down. It wasn't very good, but I did do it.
It doesn't have to be good, it just has to work. DCO Nomad git status git add git commit -m feet
Podman?
install podman. Something we probably want to think about as well in the future is how do we get it that when we push a change to this thing, it updates Packer. It updates the Packer image. Because obviously this isn't connected to the Packer repo.
I wonder if there's a way that you can get Packer to watch Ansible.
Well, but we need a GitHub action to run.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you can chain GitHub actions. Like, I'm sure there's a way of doing it.
There must be a way to just trigger it from an event.
Oh, I can't remember how we do Ansible. Wait, this is a.
Surely now it's pushed, you just run the code again, the build.
Oh, I was going to run a like default Ansible, but yeah. We really need to add some commands to like how do I run the Ansible code.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose we can just do it this way.
We had a doc stream last time. We did some diagrams.
Did some paperwork. Okay, let's stop this one. Let's rerun this action. You work. Is that going to create a new one? Create a new one. Create a new one. Just one. Rerun all jobs.
And then we'll need to update an HCP as well when it finishes.
Yeah.
What is yours? I guess it's in a different repo.
I think you'd have to have one repo running a pipeline that then runs the other repo.
I'm just trying to have a look. Events that triggers workflows.
If there is a way you can just like trigger one workflow for another, that'd be really cool. But
you could. Wow. I'm just looking through things and seeing some things that were there's public webhook event payload public runs your workflow when your workflow repository changes from public to private. No, that's not what I was thinking. All sorts of interesting triggers for these. Most of them seem to be for kind of like admin layers. It's like when your repository gets starred, you can trigger GitHub with actions.
That seems weird, but okay. Console. Let's need this to run Nomad install package. Would that fix my lighting? Oh, it kind of does actually. Nope. Who is Nomad base? Oh, it's when I look that way, so I can't see my. So really can't see my eyes. That's why I get like weird lighting because it tries to make the back better.
Yeah, I think there's a funny hacky way that we could do it, which would essentially if you could get it to comment on a card in the project, and then the change to the card would trigger it in that repo.
That does sound quite hacky. So it's an install package. So it is, well, hopefully successfully installed in Podman.
I think that's right. So I'm just reading through the list of all the triggers, and my brain is just going, well, if I link all of these together, this is what we'll get.
Link all of them.
I think if you enabled all of them, you'd end up with an endless cycle.
Yeah, you have one workload that runs on something else, so you just like full chain them. Where is my HCP? What are we playing with?
Packer.
Packer.
Still running.
Yeah, it's just got final querying. I assume at some point this is going to be good enough that it'll be like Terraform Enterprise Stuff on Cloud when you run it remotely. You see all the logs here as well as locally.
Yeah, no, that'd be nice. I'm waiting for them to move Terraform into the general cloud, which would be fun.
Yep.
You have your single pane of glass.
Yeah, hopefully we're a couple months away from that.
At this point, if it's a couple of months, they'll do it at HashiConf or just
yeah, maybe.
before.
Yeah, have it as their big like, hey, this is now a thing. But I think they're starting as like new accounts, and then they're gonna let people. Then auto migration's gonna be like further down the line.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is in latest channel. To change channels, I go to the channel, live, edit assigned version, 3, update channel. That's not updated. Now I go into Nomad, making client, dispatch job, Podman, test. DCOG.
You're going to try and spin up the Minecraft server on it, if it triggers.
Well, it won't, because our
It might, but
CSI requires Docker currently. So we'd have to, assuming Podman runs correctly, we have to change our CSI to Podman, and
But
then
we-
it should work.
but don't we still have the syspatch Docker job targeting DCOG servers?
You've got to manually run that.
Okay,
Because it runs once and finishes. It's the kind of you have to manually trigger it again.
fair enough.
I'm so impatient when it comes to this stuff.
Let's watch the logs.
Well, that was still started. That was on the start. Was happy. I was like, why isn't the client running? Because it's not in that thing yet. So the client should now be spinning up.
It's live in GCP.
There we go. Oh, I could have Podman. No, it doesn't have Podman installed. It's not that simple. Who would have thunk it?
Do we need any config to do Podman?
Yeah. So the same way we've got plugin Docker. I don't know if there's an allowed privilege thing.
Can you run privileged Podman?
So it's usage, client requirements, capabilities, tasks, config, plugin options. You can disable log container, turn off garbage collection, and there's like some other stuff. Do you not think we need any of that other stuff? So let's do that.
Cool. Oh, I was messing around with something that I haven't missed before, because I guess I wasn't big at the time, but I started seeing a few people like play with Jupyter notebooks.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, this would have been so nice that you need to have all of your comments and like graphs and everything just in one pane.
Oh, I probably like change my camera. Yeah, so I used them as a way of getting around security policies on a client. To the point where anytime I needed to actually do any work, I loaded up one of the Jupyter notebooks that we were meant to be using just to like prove things work.
What hole was it that you could exploit with a Jupyter notebook?
It was running in AWS, so it wasn't the Windows VDI I was given. It was just in AWS with full internet access. And if you know what you're doing, they're just a Linux box.
Yeah, because it's very, very easy to just install OS and then run commands.
Well, you can run apt and stuff, so you can just install any packages. Run like you can use their like magic commands or whatever they're called to just run like bash. So yeah.
Were you tempted to tell the client on the last day, or did you just leave that as a backdoor for other devs to use?
They fully well knew I was doing it. I was not quiet because it's either that or everything had to be like click ops or like written and then deployed and then tested. So like it saved time and money in the end. Like I wasn't doing anything like it wasn't that I was getting access to data or things I shouldn't be able to access. I just got access to the internet, which a lot of clients do think is like not allowed. But
yeah, I remember at one point having like a second laptop open next to me while I was working, because that one was outside of VPN, and just Google stuff on that and then type it over. So slower because I had to type it in, but if I hadn't had that, it would have taken me ages to figure it out.
I am very tempted to buy a rubber ducky for pasting into a VDI. Like, rubber ducky, for those that don't know, is a USB-sized device that to most systems look like a keyboard and runs the same way. And most of our clients don't let us paste into virtual machines, which means passwords are a nightmare because a secure password you can't store in a password manager just means it's not going to be secure. But having a way of like keyboard command to paste something, paste from my system into a VDI would be glorious.
There is a better way to make passwords more secure if they're not in a password manager. You, instead of having, you kind of use passphrases, so you'll use like a string of words together, because although like the words are memorable and make sense, and a sentence is much harder to crack by password spraying because a word is more complex than a letter. So if you have a sort of password that's a sentence that's 5 words, very difficult to spray. And as long as you don't put something very obvious like this, like location or something where you're working,
so one password does it where it'll generate you 3 random words as a password, which I use for like my laptop login, because until you log into your laptop you can't access your password manager. So that's quite useful, but it's just, and I try and do that for clients. It just takes so long because you're using 3 words, the password ends up being like 12, 13 characters long, which takes a while when you need to type it in quite often.
Yeah, I guess anything comparing to paste password is going to be longer than.
And it's in my password manager, so I can like open it like that, type in the password I want, Control C, Control V, password done. Which is like glorious. But because I try very hard to not remember passwords.
Most people, that's just the normal way of things. You just forget them over time.
But all my passwords are random strings that anytime I type them manually is like, no.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a trend of moving towards passwordless authentication, where you have either sort of your MFA process is just the primary auth. And I think it will get better, and as technology improves, there'll probably be interesting ways.
It's funny because we're moving towards one-factor authentication. Like normally we used to, like username password is 2-factor. Obviously you then got 3-factor when it wants your like password or whatever. But now we're moving back to 1-factor because the 1-factor is just more secure than anything else. Cryptography, yeah. I actually looked into how passkeys work. I don't know why I was surprised. It's a public and private key. Who would have thought?
I can't wait for quantum computing, and then you're going to have some real fun encryption problems or solutions.
Well, encryption just fails at that point. So
no, you can get quantum encryption.
Yeah, sorry. Standard encryption fails at that point.
Some of them don't. I think you can get some algorithms which are set up in a way that aren't easily crackable by quantum computers. The big one that's sort of crackable by quantum computers that people use are ones that use prime numbers, large prime numbers, as the source of the sort of computational difficulty. The idea being
probability just destroys it.
It's not it's not probability, it's parallel processing, because the way sort of it works is it's very easy to multiply two large prime numbers together. It's very difficult to work out what those prime numbers are if you don't know, and so the process to go back is significantly more expensive than the process to go forwards. And the idea is you make the numbers large enough, it will take you until the heat death of the universe for the processor to go through all the possible combinations. The way quantum computing breaks that is it runs every single permutation at the same time, and the non-viable ones collapse.
Yes. Very weird and sciencey.
It's really cool science.
I watched a video about it and was like, I actually have no idea what they're saying. I like vaguely understood it, but not to a like high enough level.
I guess how deep into physics did you go?
GCC. And then like videos, but I've never really done. I never really, I never got into particle physics properly. Like I've looked into it and like YouTube videos and all that sort of fun stuff, but
yeah, I think
nothing other than that.
So I did A-level physics. I think it touches on particle physics, doesn't go that deep. And then I don't know if I did any particle physics at uni. I may have done, or maybe just looked it up in my own time, because I remember going into looking at some of the physics on there. It's really some fun stuff happens when you get real small and don't look at things.
Back to Nomad for a sec. I forgot in the startup script, I have got it output the image that it's using.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to see what image it's using, it's in the startup script.
Good to know. Podman 2 up and running.
Podman 2's up and running. No Podman though.
No Podman. Do we need to update the server to give it a Podman option?
No, I don't think so.
It's just it's not in the driver list where the other ones are.
Wait, do we need to install it? Do we need to install it on the client? You can download a precompiled binary and verify the binary is. You need to download it to the right directory. It's not just the case of this. I need to actually install Podman.
I thought it'd just be that one line.
Oh, that was so helpful. Base tasks. I want equivalent of these. Install Nomad.
Nomad driver pod. So Podman's working, but we need a driver for it as well.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because it's not an official. What are we? ND? Yeah.
AMD 64. Yeah. It'll be the same version that's there.
Address. Boop.
It would be interesting to try and get a cross-architecture platform at one point. I don't know. I think it'd be a massive pain, but it'd be interesting to see if you got it running in once it was up and running, how if it has sort of held any sort of inherent problems, or if you architected right, you could just have something that was like, I'm just going to run this on the ARM computer, or
yeah, I suppose if you built into your constraints of like why it should run on one pod over the other, the architecture, which I think it does have.
Yeah, because some things don't have. I don't know, Docker will pull the correct architecture for you if you don't specify.
Yeah. Oh, CPU.arch. Like it knows what architecture you're on.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the wrong location.
Do the local bin.
It is plugin directory, which by default is okay. No generated path at the top level data dir. So it is Do we have a data?
I think we have a data. We need it for server, probably.
Yeah, I'm just saying if we've got it here. No, we've got config data.
Data.
Client variables. That's okay. So this is actually the same.
Same path.
Oh no, it isn't. Top level data. So this doesn't say you'd have the data at the end. But that's fine. This needs to be.
Back to other templating.
Yeah. So what templating we're in now? So
YAML.
That. Cool. It's the wrong that one. Git commit dash I should really kill some of these clients.
Only got an hour to live.
Now to live. Oh wow, we should probably call it.
Yeah, we'll give this run a go, I think, and then if not successful, we've got a pick-up point from next week.
Definitely. We run all jobs. And I think we're doing Minecraft this week.
I believe so.
So we'll be able to actually test this in the real world to see if things are going well.
Just break everything.
We at least test our main pipeline to see if that's still happy.
Yeah, because I guess we can run this now, build. If not, we can just run the sysbatch job and repair it, but we can need to push the updated Minecraft code as well to get it to use Podman.
The CSI code. Minecraft doesn't care. It's the CSI.
Is it raw, isn't it? It's not running in Docker. Yeah.
No, because it's Java. Someday we need to move it over to use the actual Java engine and not just use the Java that it brings itself.
I think we tried initially, and there was something that it was breaking.
I'm sure we did, but we were so just like make it work at the start. But
I don't know how many streams we'll have left of that. There's not too many quests. So the one where I think the last one I was on managed to power through about 3 or 4 of them. It's getting to the point where we've kind of reached critical mass of stuff, and you just need to like bang out a few things.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the early ones we just like skipped some mods, and now it's just like, oh, we've done it all, so we can just like head down, get it all done.
Need to start making the Factorio job to get that up and ready. So it's not a massive rush job at the end.
Yeah.
Although that's so well coded, I don't think that'll be a difficult at all to get going.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to be like, let's sit down from nothing and try and get it working.
Get like the little spinning wheel animation for the GitHub.
It takes so long. I mean, this actually doesn't take that long.
It's like 3 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it will tell me.
3 minutes 40 was a successful one.
Oh yeah, for your latest back, 5 minutes was the last successful. Yeah, we're about 5 minutes at the moment.
Fair enough.
If you want the last successful ones on that list, they didn't have to push to Packer, which is probably adding a bit of time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think we're doing more on these now.
Probably. can't really remember what our old Packer images were. So I think it was very. They didn't have to fetch the code remotely.
They didn't have to
built
get
it.
there. Yeah, all the code was local.
Yeah.
To the point where we still had to run the Ansible code after.
Yeah, it was
made
valid
less
for like
useful.
it was valid for like 2 weeks, the Packer image, and then immediately got outdated, so it wasn't used. So this is definitely a better solution going forwards. Slowly wiring all the bits together.
Yep. At some point, we need to get Ansible to run through GitHub Actions as well, which is going to be far more complicated than it needs to be because of the way our system works. No. Let's do this next week.
Yeah, that's fair. I wonder if I'll what was it? If it'd be easier to set up Console Connect to do Ansible through or get it working with Cloudflare.
I think. Well, the problem is if Console Connect doesn't work, then if Console's not up, Console Connect doesn't work. It's where actually we need to be moving all of our creation to Packer, and then have Terraform load in some of the secrets. So like the encryption keys and stuff, Terraform could generate for us, and then load those into servers.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for watching, everyone. We will pick this up next week, where we'll fix these last few little bits of getting Podman going, and hopefully have everything migrated. Or we might quietly do it in the week if we want to get Minecraft working and then show you what we're up to, but not going to make any guarantees.
We'll see.
Right. Like on YouTube, follow on Twitch, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.